Hey guys, Tarke here, and before I talk about my new build, I just want to quickly remind you that this Saturday, it will be Bay class, kind will be down below. So we are playing a Blink Mirror Arrow build. I don't know why that was necessary, it just felt appropriate. So how does this build work? Well, I throw my traps, and they go, but yeah. So without going full haha, why am I playing this build? TLDR, people complain that I don't play Mimi builds anymore. So I'm like, shit, what's a Mimi build I could play, which I would enjoy playing, which makes sense to play in Abyss League? So, Blink Mirror Arrow Summoners is something I actually played a few times in the past. The first time I ever tried doing a similar build was in 2.5. And in 2.5, the build was purely self-cast when I tried it back then. And it worked surprisingly well. I found it really enjoyable. The main issue was, while it was a very fun build to play, it was very frustrating. I did it as normal self-cast Blink Mirror Arrow, so no traps, mines, or any of that shenanigans. And the cooldowns, just, I found it frustrating while mapping. So I had the most fun I'd ever really had leveling a character, and a lot of fun bossing on that character. But when it came to like actual mapping, it felt terrible. So I said if I ever made that build again, I would play it as traps. At the time, there was a attack speed cap to Blink Mirror Arrow, which got removed in the 3.0 beta. And the 3.0 beta was the next time I actually tried playing this build. So I tried doing the build as a Saboteur because of Chain Reaction. What Chain Reaction from Saboteur does, and I'll explain why I'm not doing that now, is when a trap triggers, it triggers all nearby traps. The problem is, that isn't what Chain Reaction actually does. What Chain Reaction actually does is you throw a trap, and then sometimes, if the game feels like it, the other traps trigger. Most of the time, they don't. So you'll be bossing, you throw your, like, 5 traps out, like, boom, and then, well, 4, sorry, you throw your 4 traps, one of them triggers, some of them don't, and it just felt really bad. So, because of that, I ended up not playing the build at all. I leveled up to, like, 6 and said, nah, this is a mistake, I'm never doing this again. Since then, however, they've made the Tinker Skin chest piece. Now, the Tinker Skin chest piece is another reason why I'm doing this as traps rather than self-cast. So, it's a chest which has inbuilt 30% trap cooldown recovery. It gives me phasing, 30% chance to generate phasing when a trap is triggered by an enemy. Gives me some frenzy generation, which just smooths out the build. Also gives me recover 100 life and 50 energy shield when a trap is triggered. As you may have noticed, this is an Eldritch Battery build. Eldritch Battery makes us spend energy shield before mana. So we reserve all of our mana with auras, and then we have 600 energy shield to cast our skills with. And that works really nice because whenever a trap triggers, we get 50 energy shield. The way I trigger all my traps in bulk is I use 2 hair trigger jewels. And unlike Chain Reaction, when those trigger, I actually get the life from each one and the energy shield from each one. So it feels really, really smooth. So I basically have 400 health healed every time I throw a trap, and 200 energy shield restored every time my 4 traps trigger. I've also got Hasty Reconstruction on the tree, which gives me 30% additional cooldown reduction. So I have 60% trap cooldown reduction, and then I also have the 30% Blink Mirror Arrow cooldown reduction helmet. Now, thanks to Elder and Shaper mods, you can also get an additional 20% cooldown reduction on belt, and I believe up to 20% on boots. I have neither of those currently. I think they're not really needed. You can see right now I have a 2.11 second cooldown recovery on my Blink Arrow, and 2.5 on my Mirror Arrow, because obviously I don't have the helmet jump for Mirror Arrow, just a Blink Arrow. And again, you can see on single target, all the traps trigger really smoothly with the 2 hair trigger gems. Also, whenever your Blink Mirror Arrows come out, they also get pets. So if you ever want to like really show off your wealth, like I'm currently farming my mad froggies, this is the perfect build for farming frogs, yeah? Because every time I throw stuff, it spawns 8 sets of frogs. So we have potential of... So we have 2 frogs per clone, then we have 4 clones per trap, and then we can throw out 6 sets of traps like that. Boom, 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 boom. So that's a lot of frogs, yeah? We can make a zoo, and make a little aquarium in seconds. Now, by having this on traps so the build feels kind of smooth, It's really solid single target damage. This is actually maybe going to be a boss killer. Since obviously this is never going to become like tier 1 clear speed, right? Because we're a trap build now. So we're a trap build, which also blink mirror arrows. So other than, you know, being bad and bougie, it doesn't, you know, it's not the coolest. It's a cool build, but it's not obviously the best build. But it has got surprisingly solid single target damage. So how does like the DPS scaling work with this build? Blink and mirror arrow have inbuilt 75% more damage, just inbuilt to the gem itself. And then we use Generosity, Anger, Wrath, which we cast on our mana. Again, and then Eldritch Battery, so that's what we'll find that way. And then we get a bunch of Abyss Jewels and a bunch of Abyssal Sockets from Gear, giving a bunch of flat damage, and the Blink Marrow scales it really nicely. A lot of the people who do like these, oh, I'm going 10 Abyssal Jewel builds, they have the issue where they spend all their skill points getting the jewels, but then they don't have any percent scaling on the tree. Necromancer gives a load of percent scaling for free, just from being a Necromancer. They remove the attack speed cap I talked about earlier, so you just get jewels with flat damage, attack speed, pop your Flesh Offering, and they go boom, 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 boom. Now, I also do have a Split Arrow cast on hit projectile weakness, which also applies Elite Equilibrium. As you can see, I currently don't use it for mapping, I only use it for bosses, because it's just not really needed for mapping. Why is this guy whispering me, ruining my style? So yeah, it just kind of works pretty smooth so far, and I'm kind of having a lot of fun with it. Now, I'm not going to give you pace spins or anything, because this is very much a work in prog. Very much a work in prog. And I've changed the skill tree like 4 or 5 times while leveling this character, and we haven't even got it to maps yet, and I'm sure I'll change it again. So, you know, let me mess around with this build, and then if it seems cool, I'll then be like, hi guys, this is how you become a professional Pokemon master. Shit me in here, you know, and whatever. But so far I'm having a lot of fun with it. One other very important thing that I forgot to mention is the minion blind and taunt jewels. So I have one jewel which has this 6% chance to blind on hit with attacks, 5% chance to taunt on hit with attacks and minions. As you've already said it, I have a lot of minions, so this means that stuff is perma-blinded, perma-taunted, and also the minions themselves body block. So not only do I have phasing and all this other stuff, the minions like body block enemies, they eat projectiles, like porcupine projectiles, they're not getting through this cluster, right? So you just block off all the mobs, and they just blind and taunt everything. It's actually very nice defensively. In terms of like how much life is this build looking to have, I'll show you just a brief pace spin thing. It's going to look like having about 6 to 6.5k life at level 90 with moderate gear. Most of the life is coming through jewels, getting like 30 to 50 life on each jewel. I POB'd everything, I think, at like 30 life per. I don't think I planned any like crazy jewels. I can just show you the stuff now, I guess. And yeah, it just sort of works. So what we got here, 6.3k life for this current setup. This is a pretty trimmed down tree, and that is with 2 hair triggers. Now, there are a few things you can do. So I'm currently using the Darkness Enthroned, as I mentioned, over a Core Direction belt. I probably stick with that. You can also run Tomb Fist. Now, I'm not. I'm currently running this budget 6-link pair of gloves, which gives slower proj trap. You can get trap cooldown recovery, trap, and slower proj all on gloves. So if, like me, you haven't got any 6-links lying around, you can do like one budget setup in this, then put a 5-link in another setup. Ideally, I have a 6-link bow with a trap setup in it, a 6-link chest with a non-trap blink arrow setup, and then 6-link gloves. You can have a non-trap blink arrow and a trap blink arrow, and they have separate cooldowns. So if you want to go full DPS, it would be 6-link blink arrow, 6-link trap blink arrow, and then 6-link mirror arrow in gloves. The reason why you'd put your mirror arrow in the more awkward setup is, again, you want the blink arrow cooldown recovery helm, or I guess if you had the mirror arrow recovery, basically get 2 of whichever one you have the most cooldown reduction for. And yeah, So I might do that over Tomb Fist. The advantage of going double Tomb Fist is then that is an additional 2 jewels. These are the kind of jewels you're looking for, like life, attack speed, flat damage, life, attack speed, flat damage, then life, damage, then you want 1 blind and taunt jewel, and then we have life, a little bit of resists, attack speed, flat damage, life, attack speed, flat damage, more attack speed if your minions have killed recently, and then life, attack speed. You're noticing a pattern, right? Get a bunch of attack speed, get a bunch of flat damage, get life on your jewels, and then we're currently using 2 hair triggers. This gives increased trap trigger AoE. That's why I can throw my 4 traps, they'll always proc, no worries. You could play with just 1 and probably be okay. Play with at least 1. With 0, it feels terrible. With 1, it feels good. With 2, it feels like no issues, no worries, no concerns. If you're really min-maxing, you could probably go with just 1, but for the build feeling better, I'd rather use 2. You can see for rooting, we take EB, we take Influence because Aura effect scales our Anger, Wrath, Generosity, Hasty Reconstruction because we're traps. Before I took this stuff, I originally came up this way and got Sovereignty. I'm probably going to drop all of that now and just have this as my base outline. So at level 90, we've got like 182 life in the tree, which, you know, is going to be like 6k life-ish, depending on how good our gear is. We have a bunch of % life regen. We've got something like 4.4, 4.6% life regen. All the skill effect duration. For bossing, you can also go Bone Offering over Flesh Offering, making you very tanky that way. And it just feels kind of smooth. And it's basically a fun, wonky build, which works best in Abyss League. And we also have, you know, Alchemist on there, so we have decent-ish movement speed, 156, and that is with a Chemist Quicksilver, not a Alchemist Quicksilver, so you could push, like, just shy of 200% movement speed if you really wanted to. But yeah, I know. Feels kind of fun. I'm enjoying it for now. If you're interested, copy it. Don't copy it. If this turns out to be an actual build, I'll let you guys know later. See you all this Saturday for the Bay class. Bye-bye. See ya.